Hey there, ARK players, and welcome back to a brand new video. Now, today we have got a brand new interview with Jeremy, the CEO of Studio Wildcard, with 4gamer.net. They go into some very detailed information on, obviously, the upcoming launches for the game, the DLC Genesis Ascended, and we're going to be diving straight into this, and hopefully there is some very, very exciting information in here. Obviously, next week is now the launch date, so don't be expecting it this Thursday. It is not coming out on the 25th. It's coming out on the 2nd of July now. And obviously, this has been released from 4gamer.net if you want to go and check it out for yourself. Drop a like, subscribe if you do enjoy. Come and join us over on the LoadedCrysis cluster for free ARK servers. That will always be the case, and we're going to be dropping Genesis Ascended Part 1 on launch day for you guys to enjoy. And let's get in with it. So, Studio Wildcard's ARK Survival Ascended will receive a major update on June 25th, 2026, and it's now June 2nd, so they must have done this interview just before. They must have conducted the interview before they had released this, which will include the release of the remade map ARK Genesis Part 1 and the paid upgrade ARK Tides of the Fortune, or Tides of Fortune. Furthermore, in late September, the launch of ARK Maker, an in-game development tool that allows users to create maps and game rules on their consoles alone, is scheduled, making it a year of significant change. At FGF Play Days, we had the opportunity to interview Jeremy, and this is what was going on. So, co-founder of Studio Wildcard and director of the game and anime series. We spoke to him about a wide range of topics, from how the lessons are learned from the previous Ocean MMO Atlas were applied to ARK in the future of UGC, envisioned by ARK Maker, and the company's business strategy. So, let's get straight into the interview. The reimagined Genesis remake, the impact of living water brought about by physics calculations. So 4Gamer went on to say, thank you for joining us today, and to get straight to the point, could you tell us about the approach taken creating the remake of ARK Genesis Part 1, which was the main story map for ARK Survival Evolved? So Jeremy goes on to say, ARK Genesis Part 1 is not simply a port to current generation consoles. We have rebuilt both the visuals and functionality from scratch for ARK Survival Ascended. All the graphics have been revamped, and much of it has been completely remade from the ground up. That's good to know. And wow, it's so hot at the moment with no fan and no aircon. It's not just an optimized version of the game's previous data, so you will definitely feel a dramatic improvement in quality. So they go on to say, in addition to visual improvements, we hear that new creatures will also be added. And Jeremy says, yes, we have mentioned this to the community a little, but a giant octopus called the Paleo Octopus will be appearing. It's a unique creature that can climb walls vertically and use its long tentacles to hold onto objects and other creatures. It boasts a size comparable to the Brigantine, a medium-sized sailing ship being introduced in this update. Taming this gigantic octopus and freely navigating the ocean will undoubtedly be a completely new experience for players. So, well, that completely confirms that the Brigantine's coming, the medium-sized sailing ship, and it's being told that the Paleo Octopus is going to use its long tentacles to hold onto objects and other creatures. Now, can I tell you guys something really funny? This image right here, yes, my thumbnails have improved. This is actually my YouTube thumbnail from, I can't remember it. I mean, look at that text. I mean, that is like something that I made. It feels like I made it on PowerPoint or Microsoft Word or something. Like, I think I made this. It was literally back when, so this isn't artwork. This is artwork that I paid for on, it was on Shutterstock. And this was the image that I used, and obviously put this on there. And it looks terrible. Not the artwork. The artwork looks great. But the creator did a great job there. But I just slapped the Ascended logo, the Paleo Octopus. It just looks terrible, and it just shows you how much you change over the years, and I'm just sorry to you guys that my thumbnails used to be that bad, but they've used it here, and it just made me laugh. I was like, that's a bit of a blast from the past. So for Gamer, the old version of Genesis was divided into several distinct biomes. Has the map structure itself been changed? So that's the biggest change in this remake, and the part we're most excited about. The previous map had various biomes such as swamps, volcanoes, snow-capped mountains and oceans, but the ocean area was relatively small and a little underwhelming. This time, we've greatly expanded the ocean area, making it comparable in size to a full map in itself, with a dramatically increased number of islands and seamless underwater exploration through the entire area. And the biggest technical challenge was introducing real-time physics to the water. Wow. So, dramatically increased number of islands and seamless water exploration. That's awesome. How will the water physics affect gameplay? Water will not just be a shader, but a physical entity that will interact with characters and vehicles. When a storm hits, high waves will be generated, dynamically affecting all water vehicles including rafts. If you take a raft out into rough seas, it will be violently tossed around by the waves and hydrodynamically swept away. The difficulty of crossing the sea itself and the realism of survival will change dramatically. If they can pull this off and it's not lagging constantly, this sounds brilliant. So navigation on the sea will be completely different. Will this physics-based water be applied to the other maps as well? Jeremy went on to say, that's the plan. Oh! So they're actually, this is what we talked about in the other video. That is the plan. However, first we want to make sure that the system functions correctly in the remake of Genesis and that there are no unexpected synchronization issues or glitches. So we will thoroughly test it on this map first. If we can confirm that there are no problems, we plan to apply it to older maps such as the island in the latter half of this year and gradually add water movement that supports physics calculations with patches. In the future, we plan to make it a common basic technology for all maps with bodies of water that we will create. Oh yes, that's what we wanted to hear, wasn't it? That's what we wanted to hear. I saw all of you guys comment when I talked about it saying you want to see it. All of the other maps added, especially the island. They want to do it. This is good news. So, a return to the pure joy of being able to control a large ship even solo, learned from the experience of Atlas. So for Gamer, tell us about the other content, the paid upgrade, ARK Tides of Fortune. Can we assume this is similar to last year's Bob's Tall Tales? And Jeremy says, that's right. We initially considered the name Bob's True Tales Tides of Fortune, but it was too long, so we simplified it. It does include some story elements related to Bob, but the main focus is the addition of the full-fledged large sailing ship system, which we think will be most of interest to players. It's not a standalone map, but rather an upgrade that adds a new layer of gameplay to all existing maps. What kind of ships will be featured? We'll be introducing mainly 3 tiers of sailing ships: the small, fast-handling sloop, the medium-sized brigantine, and the large galleon, which is slower but can carry the most cannons. The number of cannons can be mounted in combat, and it differs depending on the size of ship. So we've made clear adjustments to each ship's role. Players can gather wood and other materials to build these ships and actually pilot them. Wow, this is sounding good. Studio Wildcard previously developed and operated the Marmite MMO Atlas. Is this ship system based on what you learnt back then? Jeremy said, we've inherited a lot of essence of Atlas, but in terms of gameplay comfort, we've taken a completely different approach based on our reflections from that time. The biggest problem with Atlas was that, as a result of pursuing realism too much, operating large ships required a huge number of AI crews, which means... Wait... please tell me the AI crews are going to be here, which meant players had to keep paying gold coins. Operating large ships, solo or in small groups, was extremely difficult because crews would mutiny if payments were delayed. In Tides of Fortune, we have eliminated all of those cumbersome micromanagement elements. Okay, so does that mean that's for paying gold coins? But does that mean there's going to be no... I hope there's still NPCs. So, can you operate a giant galleon by yourself? And yes, that's the big breakthrough this time. You can take the helm by yourself and fire all the cannons on one side with the push of a button detected via a dedicated UI. There's no need to manage a crew, and you can operate it intuitively from the moment you acquire it. We've designed it so you can enjoy large ships without having to play for thousands of hours. In Atlas, we were too focused on the realism and lost sight of the essence of video games, the fun of shooting cannons at each other from a huge ship. Are there any advantages to operating a ship together with your tribe mates? And of course, Jeremy says, you can divide roles within your tribe. While it allows for one solo man operation, we've also left the freedom for tribe members to actually manually aim at individual cannons. In that case, you gain the advantage of precision shooting, such as switching ammunition types in real time depending on the situation, or pinpointing and shouting at the weak points of specific enemies. It's not a dramatic difference, but it's a clear advantage, and we've also inherited the freedom to customize your ship by placing structures on the top of it from Atlas. Instead of using ships with fixed designs like in Sea of Thieves, you can create unique ship tailored to your preferences, whether it's specialized for attack, defense, supply transport, or even setting up dinosaur cages. So, Atlas had a hardcore system where even if one part of the hull, the outer plating, was destroyed, water would leak in real time and the ship would sink unless a patch was applied. So Jeremy said for solo players, crawling around the bottom of the ship to find out what's broken was just painful. We've switched to a simpler HP system this time, so when you take damage and your HP drops, the ship's cruising speed gradually decreases to represent the extent of the damage. However, if you put necessary materials into the resource bunkers placed inside the ship, your HP will automatically recover, making it more of a casual system. The tension of manually plugging holes in floodwaters was appreciated by some core players, but this time we prioritized accessibility. I actually kind of agree with that, to be honest. If there are many requests to launch to bring back that hardcore system, we will consider it as a server option. But we think the casual system will be more widely accepted first, and we've also designed it to be easy to incorporate custom mods. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So I heard that the new creature, the Axelottle, has some unique features. So the Axelottle incorporates a branching evolution. This is literally the most insane interview. There's so much news in it, which is something we've experimented within recent years, and you could say it's an idea somewhat similar to Pokemon. If you choose to don't tell Nintendo that. If you choose to keep the Axelottle you acquire as a juvenile, it will remain small enough to sit on the player's shoulder and will provide various useful buffs, enhancement effects to those around it. On the other hand, if you choose to evolve it into an adult, it will no longer be able to sit on your shoulder, but it will grow to the size of a dolphin, become rideable, and exhibit different unique abilities specialized for underwater movement. The appeal is that you get to extract different levels of customization from a single creature, depending on the player's style. And they say, will players who haven't purchased Tides of Fortune not be able to enjoy the new enemies and the content that appear in the ocean? Isn't that a concern that it will become a pay-to-win situation? Very good question, by the way. We've carefully balanced that point. Even without purchasing this upgrade, you can still explore the expanded vast ocean and battle AI enemy fleets. It's confirmed. It's confirmed. AI enemy fleets that dominate the seas, as well as enemy water fortresses built on islands. NPCs are here. Defeating enemies using existing marine life and motorboats equipped with engines will reward you with the top quality loot that can be attained here. Large sailing ships and axolotlls are merely new options for strategy and are not required to progress through the game or enjoy the map. They are completely optional gameplay upgrades, and you will not suffer any disadvantage if you do not purchase them. It's vehicle-orientated variation, similar to how trains, airships, and battle cars were added in Bob's Tall Tales. So, yeah, there's a lot more which we'll probably cover in the near future in terms of ARK Maker and ARK 2. And I look forward to kind of reading through more of this information, which I will do to you guys, for you guys, later on. Obviously, right now, we're mainly focusing on the launch of Genesis Ascended and everything that was said there. But yeah, some really interesting news here as well around about like sort of ARK 2 and everything regarding that. But yeah, anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did enjoy it, feel free to drop a like and subscribe. And yeah, we found out about a whole bunch of stuff there as well, which is super exciting.